Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah.
Okay. And now I'll try doing this again.
Okay. Good luck.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Um, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, wait, if you can hear me and I can hear you, who's flying the
Who's driving the
plane?
plane? Do you remember that time that we were trying to record, but you said that you didn't hear me at all, no matter what we did, and then in the recording I came through just fine. And it was
Yeah.
really funny because it was like they just didn't want women to speak that day. Also,
Yeah.
I have an itsy bit of a cold,
Oh
so it's
no.
okay though, because it meant that I got to go home early today. But it means that my throat hurts and my head hurts and I have stuffy nose. Yeah. Shaking my head.
Talking to my friend who has a cold, but shaking my head so everyone can tell I don't approve.
I'm really excited to talk about scissors today. I've been taking notes all week.
I'm really glad that you have because I've been thinking about it. And then when I was waiting for the meeting to start just now, I wrote down 5 bullet points and that's it.
Yay! Oh,
So
goody, oh
betwixt the
boy.
two of us, hopefully we've written down every possible thing.
Yeah, I hope so. Unlike with RRR, we haven't had like a year and a half to prepare to make this video. We've
Yeah.
just had like a week. So
Yeah.
we probably haven't put as much thought into this one as we have into that one yet. But I'm not opposed to the idea of like circling back and doing
Like
a video,
revisiting.
another
Yeah.
one. Because
Because we
we,
even
yeah.
occasionally will talk about revisiting the Triple R video, even though we did make 4 of them. So
Oh, we
I
did.
wouldn't put anything past us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. Do you want to do you want to do the letters?
Sure, dedicated listeners
Do
will
you
know that
remember them?
we already planned them earlier.
We did it ahead of time.
We did it
We're
ahead of
better than
time
ever. We're the
for the
coolest.
for the first time ever. We did it ahead of time. Check it
And
out.
that's true. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
We're not
it's
even
kind
lying.
of
It's real. We've
yeah.
never, even when we were planning to do this gimmick for the podcast, never ever once did we remember to do this ahead of time.
Ahead of time. Yeah,
Yeah.
or we'd occasionally think of one of the letters ahead of time, but not the rest of
hmm
them.
hmm
Usually we get, you know, dedicated listeners will know 20, 30 minutes into the video and then say, wait, welcome to
No.
Women in STEM. And we freak out because we're bad. We're bad at this.
Yeah. It's
Basically,
a good
that's
thing we're
why.
not
It's because
getting
we're
paid to
bad at
do it
this.
though. Yeah.
That
But
is
we have
that
a
is
lot of
true.
fun.
And that's what really matters.
Mhm. Also, before
Yay.
we start, I'm having a croissant sandwich for dinner. Are you jealous?
I'm really happy for you.
Thanks. And I have egg drop soup in the fridge for dessert for me. Because when I ordered, yeah, thank you, please. When I ordered it yesterday, I said, "Do you want a small or a large?" And I was like, "Well, if those are my only two options, obviously I want a large." Because I was thinking usually egg drop soup comes like when you order it as a side dish, it comes in just a really little container. So I was thinking, oh, a large is probably just like a normal container of soup, probably like like a cup of soup.
Right, like
No, dude,
a small is like the side and then a large is like a meal.
yeah,
Is that was your thought? Okay, I
that was
understand.
my thought. But
Yeah.
it was like it's like 5 meals. They gave me a carton of egg drop soup. It's huge. So I mean, I'm not complaining. Don't ever think that I'm complaining about egg drop soup. It was just a
Wait.
surprise.
No.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I asked if
That's
you
a
wanted to do
large
the
for
letters,
real.
and and then I just kept talking instead of
Eh,
doing the
That's
letters.
okay. Yeah, we have S for soup, comma, egg drop. And then we have E for egg drop. Ha 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 ha. Just
That's
kidding.
funny. That's funny.
Basically, and I'll probably just like screenshot this and put it up here so people can see kind of our creative process.
Hmm.
But the finished product was S for sexual. Because girl. And then T for twins, E
Yeah.
for, ethnic issues. And then M for Miles Caton. Yay. Hi.
Miles.
And so that's the movie.
That's it. Yeah, and that's true, is those
Yep.
are the letters.
So thanks for watching Women in STEM. See you guys
See
next
you later.
time.
Um, my contender for S, and I'll say this now, I just want to get ahead of it,
Yeah,
was what
before
did
the
I say?
scandal comes out.
Before it breaks.
Okay.
What did I say? You've got it pulled up there. I said lusting after Remick the vampire while shaking my head and frowning, capital S, to indicate that I do not support cultural vampirism and colonialism.
Yeah. So S for shaking my head. Oh no, boo.
No,
Oh
yeah,
no.
whoa, whoa. Um,
Yeah.
and okay, so after Olivia and I watched this movie together last week, and after we left the theater, I said, I've seen people posting about like lusting after the vampire, the white vampire guy, and I was like, I don't really get it. And
Hmm.
now, after a week, I would like to say, heavily keeping in mind, shaking my head, I do get it. I do get it. It took some time to settle, but I unfortunately do
Hmm.
understand it.
It had to set in. Okay.
Yeah, does not mean I endorse it, but I just had to I wanted to get that out ahead of time so we can acknowledge it and move on. I just think it's impossible, frankly, to have vampire be unsexy. I just don't think we've got the
Mm.
technology.
Yeah.
But
In some ways, we sometimes argue, has science gone too far? But in this way, it hasn't gone far
it's not
enough.
going far enough.
We
No,
simply don't have the technology.
no, yeah.
Hmm.
So that being said, now we can get into the meat of this movie
Okay.
because Miles Caton is in this, introducing
Yeah.
Miles Caton, and Michael B. Jordan is in this movie twice. He's in it twice. He plays two different people.
Because
Hi,
twins,
Michael.
it's not real twins.
No, he's playing pretend.
It's one guy playing pretend.
Hmm.
Like, because he's in a movie.
Which for the like 90% of the movie, like I totally get behind it, but there was one moment where both you and I leaned over at the same time. It was when he was like hugging himself. Both twins are
Hmm.
like hugging each other, and they're like, "I love you," and they're like, "I love you too, man." Like, you stay safe. I will. And we both leaned over and said, "He's just talking to himself," and it reminded me of there's a Drew Gooden video where he's doing a stupid Logan Paul like video or something,
Hmm.
and there's a moment where Logan Paul cuts into the video and he's like, or it's Jake. And he's like, "Whoa, Jake, this is actually episode this one." And he's like, "Sorry, Jake, there's a lot of episodes." And he's like, "All right, Jake, keep going." And they just talk back. He just talked back and forth to himself like that. That moment just reminded me of that stupid bit. Um,
That's funny.
but for every other part, it was totally
It's really good.
believable, and I
Hmm.
really, really forgot that he's not actually two people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there were some other people in the theater who had kind of an opposite reaction, and that's fine. Like, I thought it was two
Yeah.
different guys. I thought it was I thought it was different than that because I thought it was one guy and then another guy. And we said, so that's the same thing. You're saying the same thing as each other, which is a different thing from what's
From what
reality
we,
anyway.
yeah, which is it's the hi, beautiful. Um, I will say too that for the whole time, never had a problem keeping the twins apart in my mind in the movie.
Hmm.
I could very clear every single time because he's a very good actor and he's has a really good way of distinguishing between twins, I was like, I know
Hmm.
which one that one is, and I know which one that one is, always.
Hmm.
And that's really cool because for someone who's everybody's face looks the same to me anyway, but he actually does have the same face. So maybe that is an advantage on my part because I've had to learn how to
Right.
tell
Like
people
you
apart.
already have the face blindness that it necessitates. I have to look really carefully at the way people behave to tell who they are. Now, when it's one guy playing two guys, you're like,
Easy.
easy.
They even color coded them for me.
Yeah. Could have been easier. There's red twin and blue twin. Is that hard?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Um, so I would really like to hear your bullet points.
Okay, I'm adding another one right now based on red twin and blue
Yay!
twin. And to remind myself, I just wrote red twin and blue twin. And hopefully by the time we get through the first five, I'll still remember what that was because I'm not going to start with that one. I'm going to start at the beginning
Hmm.
of my frantic notes that I wrote down, 10 minutes ago. Ta-da.
Hmm. Yay.
Okay, yes. So I thought this was interesting, and this is something that I've kind of seen in like online discourse. I don't um, but it's still interesting. The like the scene of maybe all time. When everyone talks about the movie, they're like, "Oh, there's like that scene, there's like that one scene." We all know.
Hmm.
In that
Hmm.
scene, it calls back to the beginning when they're talking and they're spinning the tale of sometimes there's this music that's so powerful that it evokes like spirits of past, present, and future, right?
Hmm.
And so then there's that in the beginning of the movie, and then in this scene, that happens in real life, and you're like, whoa, and it's so good. And
Hmm.
also, you can contrast that to the vampires who are all doing their little Irish jig outside.
Hmm.
And the interesting thing is that the outside people who are all vampires are all doing the same thing. So they're kind of all brought together, but in an assimilation way. Whereas in the other kind, all these people are brought together, but they still show their individuality and their culture, whatever, like throughout the time, how it changes, but they're all still together in the same place. Whoa, crazy. And so that just
Yeah.
like that's just true in real life American history, where like in order to not be a marginalized culture or ethnicity, whatever kind of community you are, you have to assimilate to the broader culture, which means kind of losing some sense of self or some sense of where you came from, so
Hmm.
that you all become the same. This is what happened to Irish people in America and Italian people and everybody that we now are like, oh, they're just like white Americans. They used
Hmm.
to be discriminated against, and then in order to combat that, they turned against other marginalized people to gain
Yeah.
access to this like assimilated American society. And then they did that in the movie, and you're like, ooh, uh-oh.
You're like,
If
how
only
do you
that
do
didn't
that?
mean anything in real
I
life.
know. He somehow condensed like
Like 200 years of history into two
into
hours.
like yeah,
Yeah.
it's literally like the dance scene in RRR to me, where like this is like kind of poking fun at British colonialism, but then later they bring it back in like a big way. Um, or like he's so succinct with it. He's saying so much with just these comparing two different dance scenes.
Yeah.
What I wrote for that, and you just summed it up perfectly. I wrote dance scene, say less, period.
Absolutely. Dancing?
Yeah, say less. But yeah, like
Like say
exactly like you
less.
said,
Yeah.
it's a collaboration. It's like it's a communion of sorts with everybody. And like there's some give, there's some take. They make room for each other, and it's an invitation. Like
Mhm.
there's Chinese dancers there, you know?
Right.
And what I liked too is that Sammy isn't the center of it. Like he's
Hmm.
not always in frame. It's not he's the focus. This is all about Sammy. And with the Irish dance with Remick, he absolutely was. It was him.
They're
He was
literally
this
circling him
dancing
for
circles around
real.
him, and then it's like it's not a metaphor.
It's
Can I
like,
get
can I
this
make
across
it
any
any more
more clear?
obvious? Well, and what I loved about that too, like you mentioned, though, there's Chinese dancers there, like Chinese spirits who are invoked by, 1930s Black American blues
Hmm.
because it's again connection with the people who are there in the present, right? So like their
Yes.
ancestors and their future are in the room, whereas in the other one surrounding Remick, that could be anybody. You could take anybody, you
Hmm.
replace them with any other person, and it would be largely the same because again of
Yeah.
that loss of cultural identity.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not salsa,
Because
not
it's
flamenco, my
him.
brother.
Do you know
Do you
Desi
know
Natch?
Desi Natch? Like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
Yeah, and like what I liked too is like the listeners are participating in their own way too. Like it's the people creating the music are the ones invoking the power, but they're not the only ones who can share in it, you know? It's everybody.
Yeah.
It's a creation, not a destruction. And there was something else that I wanted. There were girls twerking in the
Yeah.
dance, and I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, like we're not, there's not a distinction between like high culture or low culture.
Right.
It's just, it's our culture, not like, you know what I'm saying? It's, us.
Yeah.
And it made me think of, I went to a museum a while back, and it was talking about like uh piercings and tattoos used in like historical community like ancient communities in um Africa and South America and Australia, the indigenous peoples and all these like across the world, how they use tattoos and piercings culturally. And in between like the slideshow of showing like artistic depictions of people with tattoos and piercings, it would show like modern day people with like bikers with
Right.
tattoos and piercings. And I remember I sat there and watched it for like probably an hour because I was just like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like we have such a tendency to like look down on our like modern day traditions as they're happening, I feel like, and
Yeah.
romanticize them in the past when it's like we're
But
not,
that's the same
we've
thing.
always done, but it's the same thing. And it was
Hmm.
so refreshing to see that like it was probably like some anthropologist was like so excited putting together a slideshow of like this is my like it just felt like there was so much love there of like yay, I love human culture, I love us. It was really cute, and it
Yeah.
made me think of that when I saw that scene in there. I was like just
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
pride in what people are able to create as a culture, as a group. I really liked it.
Yeah. It was good. And it kind of we were talking in I'm in a class right now about like media and popular culture and how it's created and disseminated and all this. And we were talking in class yesterday about how like every form of popular American music is rooted in like the blues. All of
Hmm.
it. Yep. You're like, oh, what if I can think of a genre that isn't? You can't.
Nope, you can't.
Sorry, you can't. And it's because that's American folk music, right? Because
Mhm.
back in the back in the day, European music was largely an educational pursuit, right? It involves an instrument and it involves a group and like a composer who has a sense of music theory, right? And it's super interesting and beautiful, but we do kind of have this idea of it being like highbrow because there's like a barrier of entry where you have to have some level of education in order to
Mhm.
participate in it. But folk music, by definition, is not that. It's for the people. It's anybody can participate. We can use instruments, but the only instrument we need is our own body.
Mhm.
So then the music that originates in America is like always because of that. The people who have nothing except our own bodies right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we create this music that now becomes the basis for all other music for 200 years after. Like every
Yeah.
genre of music that originates in America really has roots in blues, which has roots in like African spirituals.
Mhm, mhm, mhm,
And you're
mhm,
like, whoa, that's crazy. So like,
mhm,
yeah, when you see the like the spirits of the future, and there's like some things that we give more prestige to, like there's like a ballet dancer and like a rock star who's like obviously these are famous forms of like music and art. And then also,
mhm.
yeah, there's some like girls twerking, and there's like just kind of people hanging out because
Yeah.
they all come from the same place, and so they're all equally valuable regardless of the level of education you need to have to access one or the other. It's all like art that we've created that's all like ground level from the Black community.
Mhm. Big
Whoa.
boy.
That's
And
pretty cool.
it's not I feel like I keep harping on this, but I want to take a different angle at it. Like it's it's an invitation, right?
Yeah.
Like the movie isn't trying to communicate, never share your culture. Don't
Right, right, right.
don't ever, like spread out, I guess is I'm not very articulate today, but like don't don't keep closed off and keep only your culture to yourself. Like that's not the
Right.
message the movie's trying to communicate. The message is more along the lines of like, I guess be careful who you allow in your community and be wary of like appropriating a culture where you've not been invited, I think.
Right.
Like the that we see time and again in the movie, like Sammy being invited to play, and I really liked the scene where he's at the train station with Stack, and they're trying to get Delta Slim to come and play at the juke joint tonight, and Sammy like swings his guitar. He's like, "Oh, I'll show you, I'm good at the blues." And both Stack and Slim are like, "Don't, like, no, not here. This is my spot. You cannot play here. I like
Hmm.
you're not allowed." And Sammy puts his guitar away and just kind of lets it go. But then a minute later, Slim and him are playing together, and they're inviting everybody to come to the club tonight. And I was like, that's the thing. That's what he's he waited until he was invited.
Hmm.
He didn't try to force himself into a situation where he wasn't welcome.
Like, no,
And
trust
this
me, I'm
wasn't
really
him.
good, and kept pushing. He just was like,
Yeah, no, that
mm-mm.
wasn't his spot. And he
Hmm.
recognized that and let waited until he could be invited, and like, and then they were making something together.
Hmm.
It was
Yeah.
them combining
Instead of having
their
something to
talent.
prove and then inserting himself in a situation
Hmm.
where he didn't belong, or it would make the connection between them worse.
Yes, it's just yep, 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 yep.
Hmm.
Yeah. And that's not what the vampires were trying to do. They were trying to force themselves into a situation where they were not welcome for good reason.
Hmm.
And you see, there's that's
And so you see.
and so we see. And I have more to say about it that will come back to me later, and I'm sure.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I loved that they were very keeping with tradition. Like a lot of vampire stories would kind of like pick and choose which aspects of like the lore of vampirism they'll use. And this one's like, no,
Mhm.
they can't come in unless they're invited.
They can't come in.
Like
I
that's gonna
love
be a big
that.
thing. It's awesome. I love that
I
they
love it.
really stuck with that tradition, and it could have made the story like really like hokey and whatever, but it kept a level of interest, right? So like, oh, what
Really worked.
it worked. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and also their stupid ideology of like being kind to one another.
We're all brothers and sisters, love and fellowship.
Yeah, and you're like, cool, but like, what do you mean by that? And they cannot give an answer.
Uh-huh.
They're like, just let me in and I'll show you. And it's like, well, explain it to me first.
Hmm.
It's like, like love and like brotherhood and stuff, you know?
Hmm.
There's no substance to it. It's obviously just words.
Hmm.
They just like it's like they have this idea of, oh, if you say love and friendship and brotherhood, that's your key in. And then when it doesn't work, they don't have anything else grounding that. So they
Hmm.
can't get in. And they're like, what? But like,
Being kind to each other. Hello, is this thing on?
like I already said, it's like being nice. I don't know. Like being nice is like not an ideology. Whoa, crazy. Like, and it's very much, I think, in like the liberal political climate right now. A lot of people are caught up in like being individually a good person, and their ideology is like being kind to one another, like peace and love. And like, what does that actually accomplish on a large scale? If you have
Hmm.
nothing grounding that, you just say, well, I'm a good person. It comes a point where you see yourself as a good person enough that you don't see all the ways in which you're doing something wrong
Hmm.
or things that are not
Or
helpful to the
contributing
community
like
at large.
systemically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, well, but like I'm not like that. I'm like
Hmm.
all peace and love.
Yeah.
But there's
And
nothing
that,
grounding it. So you're
yeah.
not changing the system with that.
And that's, I think, what makes it really interesting is
Uh-oh.
because, like, I don't, I don't think we're really meant to know. And this is just the way that I've been thinking about it this week. And like, I genuinely cannot tell if Remick is sincere about anything that he says through the
Hmm.
movie. Like, I can't, and I think it's meant to, like, it's intentionally ambiguous. Like, is he genuinely offended when the twins ask if they're part of the KKK? He's like, sir. So, like, everything he does is so ridiculous, and it reminded me. There's this
He's
moment in Once Upon
so
a Time. He's so
stubby.
stunning. Why are they like that? The whole time I'm like, if you guys are trying to get in, why are you being so weird? They reminded me of that tweet. I have been nothing but weird and off-putting to you. Why are you treating me this way? Like you have given them, what is wrong with you? Um, but oh wait, hold on. There's this a scene in Once Upon a Time where Rumpelstiltskin goes just like that. That's exactly the expression that I see on that stupid man's face. Is how
Little old
Clem?
you. Like,
And like,
yes, you.
yeah, obviously. And he's like, oh, is this because we're white? How dare you? And like all these things, I'm like,
Right.
how
He's like,
how dare
oh,
you with the
this is
nerve
like
of being
reverse
offended?
racism. Like, mm.
It's so funny. But like it feels like everything he says is like that to me, where it's like just enough that you can't really tell if he's being sincere about it. Do you see what I'm saying? Like I
Hmm.
can't tell if he's really believes what he's saying about love and fellowship, or if that's just a manipulation tactic to get in the door. If he does believe it, it's got to be on that base level, like you're saying. It's surface level. There's nothing rooting it. It's just a genuine belief of we'll all be happier like this. We're better like this. It's better without caring what they think about it, without caring about anyone's opinion or what they, you know, do you see what I'm saying? I
Hmm.
can't tell which one is scarier, if it's manipulation or if
Yeah.
it's sincere. And that's, I think, a really, really good choice that they made if it's,
Hmm.
if it was their choice. If not, I'm just being bad at analyzing media.
Oh
I just
no.
think it's really interesting that they're like able to create that level of ambiguity with it,
Hmm.
that like you can't really tell what he believes. And I like that they left so much mystery with it, I guess. We
Hmm.
don't know exactly what his motives are beyond he wants to use Sammy's gift for himself.
Right. Yeah, like on some level you can. commiserate with the idea of like, oh, I've had this loss in my culture and my identity, and if there was some way to get it back, then I would love to get it back, right?
Hmm.
I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to because, as we say, of the history of American culture as it stands, is like we kind of erase all these other aspects of culture and just keep this little one. So
Hmm.
over
Just
time, you
cherry
don't
pick the
have
one
this
we.
bond with, like, he doesn't have this bond with Ireland that he used to have.
Hmm.
And so, you can see, oh, I want to have that back. I want to have that connection again because there's something
Hmm.
missing. But again, the way he goes about it is like in my process to find my identity and my culture, I will steal yours from you.
Yes.
Instead of, again, everyone else who participates in Sammy's music does so as themselves and they're not taking anything from him and they're not
No, and they
forcing him to
bring
do
more to
this.
it.
It's a collaboration and it's an
Hmm.
invitation for community. And then they can find themselves and find their culture, right?
Hmm.
But because
And
he
it's.
just fundamentally is wrong about the way that he goes about it, it's
Hmm.
hard to really sympathize with him because he's never gonna get what he wants,
Hmm.
and he's going to destroy other people in the process.
Hmm. It's like he says at
Good
the
thing
end when
that
he's
doesn't
grabbing
relate to
Sammy.
anything in real life. Oh my gosh.
Nope. It's like he says to Sammy, he's like, I will have your stories, I will have your memories, I will have your songs, and you will have mine. And he didn't ask for that. He
Yeah.
didn't want that. He doesn't. You're stealing from him and
Like
you're
it's
forcing yourself on him. Everything
hmm
Remick does, and this is why he's such a fascinating character and a perfect, perfect villain for this story, is because everything he does is a violation, but he wraps it up in like a pretty bow, you
hmm
know?
Doesn't it
He
sound
steals.
beautiful that I can have all these beautiful things that belong to you and you can have everything that belongs to me, like surface
Yeah, and
level?
we can
You're
make
like,
such
how
beautiful music
lovely.
together.
We can
Yeah,
share.
if you see these things out of context, even if you watch the Irish dance scene out of context, it
Hmm
feels like empowering almost. It
Right.
feels really cool. Like there's dozens of people singing and like vibing together and just losing their minds in the power of music. And it's not like that in the movie within the context.
hmm
He's stealing these people. He stole their lives, their memories, their futures. He stole everything from them. And it's just really, really, really well done though. Like he's so sneaky.
hmm
So sneaky. And I keep losing my train of thought because I'm sick. Um,
Boo! I hate being sick.
boo.
Boo! Down with the
Um,
sickness. No,
oh,
wait.
I remember. Okay, I remember. I remember. We're good now. So Annie says vampires are, separated, they're cut off, they're unable to join the ancestors. And so I
hmm
like that it's kind of implied that Remick had this gift at one point, like Sammy. He had the ability to reach, like pierce through the veil, connect with people in the past and in the future. Um, you can't do that when you're cursed, when you're a vampire.
hmm
And it's like he doesn't know or just doesn't care that if he turns Sammy, he's gonna take that gift away from him. He says he wants him for his music, for his gift, for his stories, but he wouldn't
But they
have that.
already said that vampires can't do that.
Yeah, he would be
So you
gone, so
turn
he would be
Sammy,
stealing
and
that
then
from
what?
Sammy.
hmm
Yeah,
hmm
yeah, and so I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's say hypothetically that vampires were like an allegory. It's
it's kind
still
of
true,
kind
I
of a
think, that
leap, but
somebody
okay.
somebody could, for example, like early Irish Americans could have this, again, connection with their past and they have this beautiful culture, but they
Hmm.
can't save it and assimilate to broader culture, right?
Hmm.
So you can't like have this beautiful and powerful thing and be like everybody else and be a vampire. You like have to
Hmm.
pick one every
Pick
time.
one of the God, man cannot serve God and mammon. We all know this. We all
We all
know
know
this.
that.
Um, Continue.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's see. Um, well, okay, my bullet point with love the traditional vampire lore. I had a couple other just things that I loved all in that bullet point.
Okay, I do
Um,
too.
and they're mostly towards the ending, so we can like skip it and come back, or we can kind of jump around.
I didn't, I don't know.
Okay, I'll just read them.
Yeah.
I said I love that he shoots that Klansman to death so much.
So many
Like so
times.
much.
He
Point
unloads an
blank with a
entire
machine gun. Like
whole clip.
the
He
whole
changes
thing
it out for this.
all the way up and down his body. And you're like, yes! We were screaming and crying in the theater for real.
We
Like,
were, because we
yes!
were both, we were all afraid, everybody in our group that went to see it, because he is like talking to the clan guy, and then he sees Annie and his baby, and then you're like, oh no, but what if he is like,
What
we
if he
end the
dies
cycle of
before he
violence
gets to kill
now,
that
and
guy so
yeah,
hard?
exactly,
But he
exactly, but
doesn't die
then
before he kills that
he's
guy
like,
so
hey, I've got
hard.
money. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh,
Oh,
that's right, you're here.
money? Oh my gosh, you think money will save you? Oh, that's so funny because the whole theme of this movie has been that you can't always get what you want.
When
Yeah, we lost our minds. It was
Yeah,
so good.
I really, 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 really liked that a lot.
A
I saw a
lot.
couple reviews
It's
of the
like if
movie where
there's
people
gonna
were
be a
like,
Klansman in any movie, he should get shot point blank with a machine gun the full clip.
a billion times,
Like,
argue with the wall, okay? Um, I also really liked it when he put that when he threw the grenade in the car as it was driving away. I liked that a lot
that
too.
was so good.
Yeah.
He was born in the wrong era. He should have been an action movie star.
I really there were a couple of reviews that I saw that were like complaining about that scene at the end. They were like, it just kind of felt like it came out of nowhere, like it was from another movie. Um, like why
But
didn't
they
they
were
just
building up to
imply
it the
or
whole
whatever?
time, though, right?
They
Because the twins
were.
arrive in town and they have this mysterious crate in the back of their car that nobody's supposed to know what's in it because it's like artillery. Like, and then they flash back to when they buy the place from the Klansman guy, right? It's like there's these threads kind of through the whole thing, and just because you weren't paying
uh,
attention doesn't mean they came out of nowhere when they were
Yeah,
tied up at the
we
end.
were paying attention. We
Mhm.
knew.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought that was really good.
I
If you're
liked that.
watching the movie the whole time, then you're like, oh, this makes sense because it's like from earlier.
Yeah, because they mentioned having the trunk and that you know that they were soldiers and fought in a world war
Uh-huh,
and
uh-huh.
also are like
Because it's the 1930s, right?
badass.
So you have to remember that World War One has already happened,
Yeah.
and they were in it.
And also they worked for Al Capone.
And also, they worked for Al Capone.
Hello? You think the fact that they have a billion guns and grenades comes out of nowhere? Okay. Yeah.
It's
And
like, well,
like
maybe if you like listened to the exposition, then this wouldn't be so shocking to you. But I also saw a lot of
mhm.
reviews that were like, it's too much, it's too much exposition. It's like they take forever to get to the action, and then you're like
It's
bored. And
almost
I,
like so you
I was like,
care about the characters when the action
mm-hmm,
starts happening to
mm-hmm.
them. The movie's only 2 hours
Because we're
long. It's
introduced to
not
these
very
people
long.
on purpose, so we know who they are, and we
We know
know
what
what
they
their struggles
want.
are. We know what they want. It's just called characterization. And also, that's like any movie is kind of supposed to have like a lot of rise and then a really big moment and then a pretty short like
Mhm.
that's just what they teach. I don't know, man.
Yeah,
Maybe you're wrong. That's okay.
because I feel like if they had the vampire stuff too soon, then you would have
You'd
been
be
like,
like,
this
who are
vampire
these
stuff is kind
people?
of going on quite a while. And you're like, yeah, why should I care? But
Yeah,
you know why you
yeah,
should care, and you do care, and then it's the perfect amount of time
yeah. And it's
when
also
it
like I knew
ends.
going into it that there were going to be vampires in it. But if you didn't know going into it that there were going to be vampires in it, it would be kind of fun to get these little like snippets of like, oh, that's kind of like how vampires do. And then when it happens, you're like, ah, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good.
Anyway, so I loved that he shot that guy so hard.
I was
And I
really
also
fun and liked a lot.
loved, I underlined loved the mid-credits ending with Sammy as an old man in the bar
And
after the show. I was
Sammy
like,
is Buddy Guy,
and he's buddy guy.
and he's
Yay.
Buddy Guy, and that's Buddy Guy.
And they come to visit him, and it's just a nice conversation between people who are catching up.
Yeah, you worry that it's gonna be like a violent bloodbath, but it's not. It's this
It's
guy,
just not.
it's his uncle being like, "Hey man, I promised him I'd leave you
Yeah,
alone. But if you want, I can turn you and you could, have eternal life with us." And he's like, "You know what, man? I appreciate the thought, but I'm good. I've got
but
this."
I'm good. And he says, "You know
And they're
what?
like, "Okay."
Good for you. I'm proud of you."
And they listen. He plays a
Hmm.
song for them. Ravelin. The first song that he ever heard of,
Like from
like from
before.
before.
They keep doing things from before.
Yeah,
That's
I love it when they do
crazy.
that. I love it when they do that. Oh, real quick before I forget, I would
Mhm.
like to say a special thank you to this movie because I really like it when movies start at the end and then they have flashbacks and then you go back to the beginning of the movie and get to watch how it happened.
Oh
Like
yeah, and that
Megamind,
happens because he pulls up to the church in his old car and he's like been through
bloody.
something. He's
Yeah.
exhausted. He's limping. You're like, something happened to this guy. And then it's like, let's go over here and tell the story. Yeah, so fun.
And like
And it
that, and
is
they
like
liked how there were
Megamind.
little flashes of like, woo,
Yeah. And you're like, "Ah!" That was good.
scary.
So
Yeah,
scary.
like Megamind. I really like it when movies do that. We should do that more. Thank you.
Yay.
Because it's like you get it. Because
Because
who
that's
cares
a
about
hook.
spoilers?
And then it's
Yeah,
like,
we're not.
oh, too
There's
much
gonna be
exposition,
monsters.
too much exposition, but you just saw this guy stumble
Yeah.
bleeding into the church. So, like,
So
we're
you know
actually
what it's leading
explaining the story
to.
to you.
Yeah.
You already saw the
Yeah.
ending
We know
before.
how we're. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
anyway,
don't know.
but
And
I
like
just
you
wanted to
say,
say
it's only
that I
two
liked
hours
that.
long. It's like you could learn a little bit of patience enough to watch a movie that's 2 hours long. Not even three. Or
Not
Pushpa
even three.
2, 4.
Knocks out a whole calendar day.
That movie's so long. They go to Japan.
I still haven't seen that one. I liked the first one so much, and everything I've heard about the second one is like it's fun. It's not as good. But I don't want to
It's
watch
not as,
something that's
it's
4 hours long,
fun.
but that's not as good.
It's like entertaining, but you definitely should split it into 2 hours and 2 hours because it's too much. By the end of it, you're
It's a
like, who
long
even
old
am
time.
I? Like, this movie was too long.
Okay, you were talking about vampire lore.
Oh yeah, that was just my bullet point that said I love that they were traditional with it. They were like,
Yeah,
if they're in the sunlight, they will die
they will
by being
burn.
burned up. If they're
Yeah, I
outside
liked
of your
that.
door, they can't come in unless you out loud invite them inside. Like I just liked that
Hmm.
they like stuck to the rules.
Yeah. And
So it
like
made it really
garlic,
interesting.
wood, silver. There are so
Hmm.
many things like I just restarted watching The Vampire Diaries this week because for whatever reason I'm kind of on a vampire kick right now.
Hmm.
Um, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer is coming up next too, by the way. Um, and I love I love The Vampire Diaries. It's one of those shows, and I've said this before, that it's like I hate all the characters. I hate almost every plot point, and I hate every episode that I watch. I'm like, oh, I hate this episode. Um, I would consider it one of my favorite shows. I love it
Me with
so
6 feet
much.
under.
Yeah,
Why would they do
it's
that?
uh,
But then you
but
can't
it's
stop watching.
no, and it's kind of toxic, I think. But it's like Mike's Mike with Pretty Little Liars. Almost every single thing he's like, I hate this. I hate that they did it this way. But she's my favorite. She's my bestie. He gets it, I
Mhm.
think. Um, anyway, watching them explain vampire lore, there's like a couple things that they keep, like they can't come in without an invite and they don't like they can't walk in the sun without magic. But they're like, you can eat garlic, and they're like, I love garlic. Like silver, it doesn't really bother me. All these things. And like they're like, that's kind of silly, right? Vampires that can't eat garlic. And I love it when a movie takes it seriously. They're like, yeah,
Mhm.
no, I threw pickled garlic on that bitch and it
Mhm.
burned him. And they're like, yep, no, that makes sense. Like they're not looking the, again, I love it when movies are sincere and just
Hmm.
are saying this is the
They're
story that
like,
I'm
well, that's
telling.
the rules. So
That's the
what are you
rules.
gonna do?
Yeah, they're not looking at the audience like, right, wink, wink, garlic, kind of silly, right? They're like, no, garlic is gonna like hurt that guy, and we want to
Hmm.
hurt that guy. So I'm gonna throw garlic at him. They just take it seriously, straight face. I love that. Yeah, I thought that was really
Yeah,
good.
I
I
agree.
also really liked. I really like when vampires have the eye thing.
Hmm.
I like when they did that. Like they did that in Midnight Mass. And guess what? Do you want to know what the secret to that one is? Is they just did. They had contact lenses that made it look like that.
What?
Yeah, yeah. It's practical
That's
effects,
movie
baby.
magic.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
They could have done it with CGI,
Hmm.
but they were like, we're gonna do it with contacts, and the actors can't see when they're wearing them, so they're just gonna have to walk into stuff. But it's worth
Oops.
it.
Hmm. That's
I
showbiz,
love it.
you know?
The
What are you gonna
showbiz
do?
baby. I just really like that. This in this movie, they leaned a lot into practical effects for a lot of different things, and I really
I think that's good, and
I
I
had
love
practical
that shadow of a
effects.
cat on your wall. Did you see that as you were talking? Your cat step, 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 step,
Did
step.
it really?
It,
I wasn't
yeah,
even paying attention.
it was really cute.
Oh, that's
All the
really
viewers will
sweet. I
go
can't.
back and double,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you like slow it down and put like a big old circle on it, like in those ghost shows?
Like really zoom in, yeah.
Oh, one other thing of vampire lore, um, because sometimes they do like Christian iconography with
Hmm.
vampires, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer does this a lot with crosses. And this one, I'm so ready at the end when Remick has Sammy and Sammy starts saying the Lord's Prayer. I was like, oh, and he stopped. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, because vampires they can't do that. He can't.
Hmm.
But then he started saying it back. I was like, oh,
That was
that's even
crazy.
better. That's even. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, no, I like it when they do that. And then he started reciting it too with his Irish accent, and I was like, no, yeah, no, that was you were better. You were right for that. That was
Hmm.
correct. Thank you. And really, did you like it too? He hasn't seen it. He's too young. But
Yeah, he's too
I
young.
liked that a whole lot. I really, 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 really liked that. That was better.
That was
I don't
really
even have
good.
anything to say about it. I can't articulate how I feel about it right now. I just liked it.
He's like, yeah, it's interesting how like you can be colonized and have this religion kind of like forced into your culture, but then still find comfort in it. Huh. Anyway, I'm gonna kill you. And you're like, no, oh my gosh,
No,
no, oh my
no,
gosh.
don't do that.
It's
No.
like
You're being a bad, you're making bad decisions.
you're being a bad guy. Stop. At ISIS, stop. Like for real, stop. My second to last bullet point just says, we're family, frowny face. Because of Haley Steinfeld is in the club having a good time, and then the white
Hmm.
vampires come and they're like, oh, hang on. And they're like, no, no, no. Like, she's with us. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Um, where she's here because she's family.
It's family.
And then later she gets turned and she comes in and she sees Annie and she's like, but we're family. And you're like,
It was right in half. It
what?
hurted. Ooh.
Anyway, something
That shit hurted
something
for
like mixed
real.
people having to choose between one culture or another. I don't know. Ugh.
Mhm.
I can't talk about that right now.
Well, it was interesting too because Haley Steinfeld talked about how taking this role was really impactful for her and like learning about her own family history because
Hmm.
she has the same lineage as the character and getting to talk about it and learn more about it. She's like, it really is, there's a lot of complex feelings there. And she
Yeah,
said that the movie was so good because it let her explore that a little bit more and really think about how it was just, it was really, she talked about how therapeutic it was and how it was such a good challenge for her, and she killed it.
she
She
was
did so
really
good.
good. She was
I
really
love
good.
her.
I feel like
Everybody
I
in this
haven't
movie did
watched a lot
so
of
good.
movies that she's in, and I don't know. So I'm like, she's good, but I don't really know her that well. But then in this movie, she was so good.
Hmm, 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 hmm.
She was really
I know she
good.
was in Pitch Perfect 3. and I'm pretty
which I
sure
obviously
she
haven't seen.
no. And she voiced Gwen in
Yeah,
Spider-Verse, right?
in
Okay, so
Spider-Verse,
yeah.
which is a great movie, but
And
kind of when you're
Arcane.
watching it, you don't look at those characters and be like, wow, that's a really good actor, because you can't recognize them because they're animated.
Mm-mm.
It's just the voice, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Anyway,
they are talented. It's just it is easier when you can see them in real life.
yeah, because
And
then
you
you
can
can
see her
kind
in
of
real life in
connect.
this one.
Yeah,
Yeah, and she is good. And
I like
they
that.
were all really good.
I like that. Yeah, they were
Both
really
Michael
good.
B. Jordans
Both
and
Michael B.
Miles
Jordans were
Caton.
good. The
Um,
Chinese couple was really good, and Annie was really good.
very
And you
good.
know what? Everybody in this movie was good, and they did their parts real good.
They were super A plus.
Hmm. Oh yes, and then my last point, red twin and blue twin.
Red twin and blue twin. I remembered the
It
point.
does make it easy to keep track of who's who because you're like, well, that's the one in red. I remember him from before, you know. And then also I saw this thing like one of them wears kind of like Irish style clothing and one of them wears more Italian style clothing and you're like, "Oh yeah, that is interesting." And then they were like, "What if one of them had ties with the Italian mob and the other one had ties with the Irish mob and neither of the mobs knew that they were twins? Wouldn't that be
Yeah.
crazy?" And you're like, "That would be crazy."
And I believe it. I believe it. I wrote that down
Why not,
too
you
to
know?
mention. I incorporated it in my belief system the second that I heard it.
Instantly, I was like, "Okay, sick."
Hmm.
And then it
Yeah.
does help because
Hmm.
they
Hmm.
talk about like their past with like the mobs in Chicago, and then when they make their club, they're selling like Irish whiskey and also Italian wine and all this stuff.
Hmm.
And some characters are like, "Hang on, how were you able to get all that? Like
And two
maybe
and
you
two
stole
together.
from the mob and then you ran away from Chicago and that's why you came back." And they're like, "No, oh my gosh, that would be crazy." But like,
And then
what
they say
if?
stuff like they're like, "Oh, we hit it big, just not the way you think."
Yeah, it's like, okay,
Maybe
could you
be a
be
little bit more subtle about it.
yeah.
You guys definitely did something illegal, for real.
And now you're just saying like kind of shady things like that, and people can hear you. Like if anybody comes down from Chicago looking for smoke and or stack, everyone knows what you did because you won't
Hmm.
shut up about it.
They're like, "Oh, the smokestack twins," and they're like, I
They're
beg your
like,
pardon,"
"Oh."
because I'm the Irish mom. I'm like, I like that they had matching grills. I
Yeah,
thought
that
that
was
was really
cool. Like
cute.
one on this side and one on this side. That's so
Yeah,
cute.
twins,
Yeah. And their
literally.
haircut, like they have the same haircut, but then like one of them's parted
In,
this way and one of them's parted this way.
inverse. Yeah,
Because mirror
I
twins,
like.
that's a real thing.
Mm,
And they were like, let's cast Michael B. Jordan as mirror twins.
yeah,
Hmm.
they could have just
Good
cast
idea.
twins.
They could have.
I kind of like that they didn't.
Because then who would Michael B. Jordan be in this movie?
He couldn't have been in it,
And that would be crazy and wrong.
and we're
So
not doing
think about
that.
that.
What if in the future there's a movie where Michael B. Jordan plays everybody?
Yeah. I'm sure it's just around the corner.
Yay! Oh,
It's like what's that show that Tatiana Maslany plays like every character? And I've never
Big
seen
Mama's
it, but
house.
I huh?
Ignore me. Keep going. Sorry.
I've never seen it, but she gets a lot of praise because she plays like nine different people and they're all like
Yeah.
very distinct and they interact with each other. And I'm like, seems
Yeah.
really cool, but I've never seen it.
Michael A. Jordan through Michael Z. Jordan.
26 characters, one actor. I mean,
Revolutionary.
hmm
Yeah.
plus, you
Um.
know, pretty low budget.
Yeah. I try not to get in the habit. Like I said before, I've never had for that. Um, but everything that I learned about Michael B. Jordan on this movie, everyone was like, he literally never complained, ever. He like vented a little bit, but he's like, we're here, we're in the heat. He's wearing like a full wool suit.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I mean, this is just the way it is. We just got to get through it. And everyone's like, yeah, you know what? You're right. You're right, Mike. We got to keep a good. He just seemed like he was so nice. Everybody on the cast did. And I really
Hmm.
like that. But I would like to get. I saw that tweet that was like, I want to get that girl's opinion. The one who she was watching. She was at the dentist office, and they were watching Black Panther on the TV, and she clenched her jaw so hard she broke her retainer. I want her opinion on this movie. And frankly, the silence is deafening. I would
Yeah.
like
We're
let her
waiting.
speak. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure she's been silenced.
There's a
We should change
conspiracy
the
afoot.
S. We should change the S to silent or silenced and have it be specifically referring to that girl.
Yeah. Yeah, the twins, I liked that they were very good. One other thing too that I noticed is after Cornbread is trying to get back in,
Hmm.
he's like being kind of nasty to Annie, and he's like, "How dare you talk?" She's like, "This guy gave me a job. He employed me. He grabbed me out of the fields and gave me a job and all this stuff."
Hmm.
He didn't though. That was Stack. They gave him a job. You're talking to Smoke right now. Stack is currently dead in the back room, and I like
Right.
that because Remick doesn't have anybody in his hive mind. He doesn't have a
Mm.
Stack in his
He
hive
doesn't
mind
know
yet. He
who's
doesn't
who.
know. He can't
Yeah.
distinguish them,
Hmm.
and I liked that a lot.
Because it would be
A
weird for
lot.
Cornbread to not be able to distinguish them because he knows them in real life.
He knew who that was immediately. As
Hmm.
soon as he pulled up, he's like, "Yeah, that's Stack. I know." Yeah, so I liked that. Attention to
Yeah.
detail is insane. It's insane. I like the
Hmm.
idea of a vampire hive mind. I've never seen that before in any vampire media. I liked it a lot.
It was really good.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I thought that was nice. Well, not nice. Don't twist this.
No,
Don't.
it was really nice. It was like love and friendship. Yay.
Yeah.
I'm a good person.
Let me inside,
Let me inside. The system is,
please.
yeah, of course the system is bad, but I'm a good person. Let me in. Let me
Mhm.
in,
I
please.
can fix it. I'll fix it. It's like
Me.
you're just killing a bunch of people though.
Yeah. It's like, oh, I feel like, maybe your intentions are pure, but kind of the outcome is the same, in which you're stealing and killing black people. Do you not see it? That's
Look in a
still
mirror.
that's
Oh,
still
you can't,
bad. Like
because he's
that's
a
still the same thing
vampire.
as happening. Oh wait, he can't.
Luther can't even look in the mirror.
Stupid. Explains the bad haircut.
Oh, I have a couple notes myself.
I'm somewhat of a
A note taker myself.
But let's hear it. Oh, also, do you want to see
Okay.
my
Yes.
woke BS book that I just got in the mail? Ah, blam, blam, blam.
You tricked me. Give me just 1 second. Hi. Call on Olivia. We're talking about sinners.
The movie.
The movies. It is an official podcast. Yeah. I would invite you to say something, but you haven't seen it. He hasn't seen it. Oh, yeah. Well, that's kind of how you would want to watch a movie, is in the dark, so you can see it. Because of the Lost Boys. Did you hear him?
No, not really.
He said, I haven't seen it, but I know it's not the greatest vampire movie of all time because of the Lost Boys.
Oh, because of the Lost Boys. Okay.
Hmm. I haven't seen the Lost Boys, so I can't speak to this. It sounds good. I just, I like vampire movies in general. I don't think it's kind of hard to disappoint me, frankly.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so here are some of the things that I have noted here. First and foremost is the first thing that I found when I looked up this movie was that Remick was partially inspired by death from Puss in Boots 2, the Last Wish.
Of course,
We keep
because that's one of the
winning!
greatest movies of all time. When
Yeah,
will
Ryan
Fulton
Coogler
Alexander
watched this
return from the
movie.
war?
He's like, are y'all seeing this? There's really something there.
Yeah.
And this is why I think the Remick turned out to be sexy. Is because Ryan Coogler knew he's like, no, here's where we're drawing connections, you know?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
So
everyone
I
else is
loved
afraid to
that.
say that.
Yeah, not here though.
Not here. We'll
We
say
speak the people's
anything.
truth.
I mean, we say the truth. Yeah, yeah. This is the
Yeah.
podcast of the people, baby.
Sponsored by Big Pen. So I liked that a whole lot. Uh, and I liked that he was actually like willing to say that too. Because a great artist
Hmm.
can find art anywhere, and he values that story for what it is. He's like, no, that was great. It was a wonderful story. It was a wonderful villain. Really well done.
Hmm.
Like he's
Hmm.
not devaluing it because it's like Boots too, right,
It's
guys?
like a
He's like,
kids
no,
movie, right,
this
guys?
that was kick ass.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
because it's
So
it's like how we were saying before, like we have to erase the lines that we've drawn between like highbrow and lowbrow art.
the second thing that I have here is I read this really interesting article that talked about the significance of having the Choctaw be the people who were pursuing Remick at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because the Choctaw in Ireland actually have a really, really long history of like collaboration and friendship. Like the Choctaw sent money and food to Ireland during the famine, and during COVID, Ireland sent a bunch of food and supplies to Choctaw, citing their generosity in the past, and they just erected like a big old friendship memorial between and that the
Hmm.
whole thing
Hmm.
about made me cry because I was like, that's just so sweet. So like there's a long history of friendship and collaboration between these two groups. Um, how interesting is it that this Irishman came to the Choctaw hoping for fellowship and love,
Hmm.
and they immediately sussed him out. This is the people who has like they have already given so much and proven themselves to be good friends to these foreign people, but no, something is not right. They know he's not who he says he is. They know something's wrong.
Yeah.
And I also love so much that Remick shows up at the beginning of the movie looking like he's just been through a blender. And then all the Choctaw people show up and they have not a scratch on them.
Yeah.
They're like dressed to the nines, so sharp, like not even sweating. They're like, "Hey, you
Hey,
got you got a guy
just
in there?"
wondering, sorry to bother you. Just
Yeah.
a quick question, then we'll get out of your hair. Yeah. He's like, yeah. He's been in and out of the trenches.
He's literally on fire.
Yeah. His skin is actually burning up for real.
It is. Yeah. Can't open half his face. I just liked it a whole lot. I love
Yeah.
that guy. I
Yeah. It's really, yeah, that's really funny because he's like, he blames it on them, right? So that he can curry favor with the white supremacist couple whose door he's landed on. Okay.
mm,
Well, yeah.
uh-huh.
He's like, oh, just blame it on Choctaw Nation, even though, as we know, they're pretty just like regular people, kind of good guys, you
Hmm.
know, and they're
Yeah.
fine. It's awesome.
Yeah. Really, really good.
He's exerting all of his energy fighting them and still losing.
Yeah. I really liked everything about that. It was really good. And I liked too that they're willing to help up until the point where it becomes clear that they're in danger and they're,
Mhm.
you know, even still like he looks in this couple's house. He can see the clan robes in the door. Like they're right there,
Because
you
they're
know.
just in there. Yeah.
They're just right there, like on display. And even still offers to help until the sun goes down. It's not like he's like, oh, never mind. And like again, just it's not exclusionary. I don't like
Right,
don't
right.
take that in bad
Like
faith, but
he
you know
can
what I'm trying to
see
say?
the
And he can see
danger
the
of
greater
Remick being
danger.
out is so great that it's worth c being in
Yeah,
conversation with these people who
thank you.
obviously hate him.
Perfect. Yes. Yep, 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 yep,
Right.
yep. Good,
But
good.
then, yeah, again, you get to the point
Hmm.
where, oh, this is no longer, I'm just going to make the situation worse because I haven't been
Hmm.
invited into this space. And he respects that and he
Yeah.
leaves. Crazy. Just like Miles from the earlier,
Wow.
like we were
Just
talking
like Miles.
about.
Miles. Um, let's see. I'm just gonna start going down my list. That's okay. These are in no
Okay,
particular order.
that's
Okay.
great.
The reunion scene with Annie, have you listened to her, the actress who plays her? Have you seen any?
Not a
Okay,
ton. Yeah.
her name is Wumi Masaki. Masaki? Masaku? I can't read my own handwriting. Masaku. She's like so British.
Mm.
And her voice is pitched like 2 octaves higher in real life than it is in her character. So
Oh,
I was watching
interesting.
cast interviews. I was like, who is this lady? Is she like a writer? No, she's like one of the main ones.
Yeah,
She's
fascinating.
like so she's so bubbly and like
She's like, what's her name? Rosa Diaz.
yes,
Who, like, in real
exactly.
life, her voice is much higher, but then her character is
Yes.
like this
It's like
really, yeah.
low and yeah, exactly like her. So I thought that was fascinating. It was really fun. But also
Stephanie
the
Beatrice.
reunions,
I could remember
that's it.
Beatrice, but then I couldn't think of a last name, but it's because her first name's Stephanie. There
Because
we go.
that's the hmm
We got it.
yeah. The reunion scene between her and Smoke was her
Hmm.
audition scene. And it was so good that they literally cast her in the room. I was like, yeah, uh-huh.
Hmm.
I like that because
Yeah, that's
I
crazy.
like when actors are so good they get cast in instantly, like that kid
Hmm.
from E.T.
Yeah.
Like, all
Who
right, yep,
plays
I've seen
young
enough.
Hugh in
In
Hill House.
yeah, which is a show
And
I
the
gotta watch
creepy
again.
dentist guy in that other one.
Yeah.
Didn't like that guy.
No, I didn't really care for that one either. That was a little, that one was a little harder for me.
It was a bit much for me.
Oh. Let's
Anyway, same
see.
guy.
Yeah,
So
the same guy.
that's
Yeah,
all that was.
and the uncle who's actually the dad from Bly Manor. So there's actually 2 different versions of this movie online that you can watch illegally. Not that I would necessarily know this
I mean,
because I've never watched anything illegally online.
sharing this information, but shaking my head to show that I love the law.
So there are a couple like extra scenes here and there. And the one that wasn't in the theatrical version that we watched was Remick singing Traveling Man at Sammy when they meet him for the first time. Um, or not for the first time, but when they're trying to get him to come out after
Mhm.
like they all know what's going on. And I just love the idea that he can steal people's memories. It's such a fascinating concept that
Yeah.
he wasn't there. He stole that. He stole that from Stack. That's not like he shouldn't get to but he's should like everything he does is so violating and like creepy and personal.
Yeah.
Like
That's
same scene when he's
crazy.
talking to Grace
Yeah.
and like speaking she's like that white devil was speaking Chinese and she doesn't tell him what he said for
Yeah.
good reason.
Because
Because
it's
hello?
crazy.
Yeah, yikes. And I feel like I had a different point to that, but I don't remember what that was. Because that was insane. We all watched that,
Yeah.
right? That was wild.
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah, it really
Um,
speaks to like, oh, because we're all part of this like happy love friendship group, I
yeah, we share
can steal
everything.
your most intimate memories
Hmm.
just kind of for my own gain.
Yeah, you want to share them with me, right? It's like, no, you didn't you didn't ask. You just took. So I like that. I love it when aspect ratio changes.
Yay.
I liked that the the dance scene with Remick, his version of it, it's kind of like a fairy ring where you're not
Hmm.
supposed to go in those. Everybody knows, but you're not supposed to do that. But he's like making his own, and I thought that was pretty cool
Hmm.
when they're the clan is trying to get in there. And I didn't realize that somebody else pointed it out, but it's to like trap all the clansmen outside, but also to protect Zack is still in there. He didn't leave when the sun came up. He's still in there. And so Smoke probably kept everything all locked up tight to make sure that nobody could get
Hmm.
in and he would stay safe,
Yeah,
which is crazy.
that's crazy.
Yeah, that's really good. When Perline, her name is Perline, by the way, she's like, I'm actually married. And he says, happily?
Happily?
Girl. And she like stayed upright, which
Yeah,
is the crazy thing.
she has like a personal fortitude that the rest of us can't even imagine.
Yeah.
But she does go
Yeah.
to the party.
Yes, she does.
So,
Yeah. hmm
yeah, so it
Um,
worked.
yeah, it did. I liked him too because he said it's like
Happily?
immediately.
Yeah,
It's like, how on earth do you have Riz?
I
You're the
know.
son of a pastor. This is presumably your first night out on the town.
Right,
Like,
they make it seem that way for sure. Yeah, but he just is like
yeah.
he was led by the
No,
spirit.
I pull.
Like like
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, no, it was
I'm
crazy, crazy level of
wild.
game from this guy.
Yeah. Insane. Let's see. Okay. Stale grease. You remember when cornbread is like, it's probably your cooking that messed my guts up. You're using stale grease and all that. And Annie, fully knowing that we're in the midst of a vampire attack, she has to take a
Hmm.
moment to be like, actually, screw you. I've never used stale grease ever. Rotten hell.
Hmm.
And then gets back to the vampire thing at hand. I just thought that was really funny that she's like, while we're on the
Yeah.
subject,
Well, actually, now that
you,
you mention it,
yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that was
um,
good. And it was
I
also, I
liked
mean, that
that.
whole thing when they're like standing in the doorway, just listening, this vampire that they all know is a vampire is going on and like will like almost convince one, like each one of them at a time to let him in.
Mhm.
And the whole time they could just close the door. So we were
At
sitting there
any
in the
point,
theater, every like 4 seconds we're like, so close the door or like like crisis averted if you
just
just close the door.
or like when later when Remick is talking to Grace and Bo comes out too, and he's like, "Baby, let us in." And Remick's like, "Uh-huh, yep, I can tell you some things about yourself." It's like, okay, how about we?
How about we
It's
close
amazing
the
because it's on
door?
hinges, so you can just
Hmm. And we're actually standing in the doorway right next to it, so we can
in the
easily just
door,
kind
so
of
you can
go
just
like this and like kind of close the door.
so easy, so
Hmm.
easy. It's like, and I've said this too, but it's like in movies when there's a hostage situation and you get a call from the villain, and they're like,
Hmm.
"Here's the situation," just hang up right then.
Yeah.
You don't know what they have on you. You don't know what the stakes are, and they're not going to do anything. They want you to do something, but you can't do it unless you know what they have. So like, just don't let them have
Right.
that. Just hang up,
So like hang up.
close the door. Why are we doing this?
Hmm.
So this is before we really get the idea of there's a vampire hive mind and they can see each other's memories and everything.
Hmm.
But it's when they're performing Pick Poor Robin Clean, which, by the way, insane choice
Yeah,
to be
not
a
what I
group
would
of
have picked.
vampires saying, "Please let
Yeah.
us in.
Not what
Here's my
I
song."
would have picked. Like, here's our audition to get into your like fun little club here. I don't think so.
Hello.
I feel like you could have picked
No.
really any other
Any
folk
other song.
song.
Yeah.
But they have to
Why
do one
do you
that
make the
evokes
choices that
this
you
like
do?
terrible imagery, like whatever.
We're we're eating a creature down to the bones.
Ew.
Oh, anyway, I
Play
really
one
liked the
people like.
idea.
Like it's a little on the nose and it's not helping your case. That's all.
It's very unsubtle. Hold
Hmm.
on, I'm gonna have to go close this. I really liked that that little sling move that they all did with their instruments, where they all like kind of waved them in sync. I like the
Mhm.
idea of them rehearsing as they're walking to the club. They're
Right.
doing that. Okay, like, okay, and
They're like,
ready,
we
one,
gotta
two.
convince them to let us into the club. And so our audition has to be really good. And that's what they did.
Yeah, exactly. So
Or
I
maybe it's
liked
just
that a
maybe
lot.
it's like one of them has that habit, and then because they all have the same brain, they just like
Oh, they
all
just do
picked
it
it
all
up.
at the same time. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's yeah.
It could be
Um,
nice.
that could be good. Ooh, okay. I read an article today and it had a comment about because I was like, pick poor Robin Queen. Why did they pick that? Because yeah, weird choice. So I looked it up, and someone had written an article that had this quote. Similar to their soulless rendition of Pick Poor Robin Clean, they're a soulless imitation of humanity, never able to connect with the divine like even the most sinful of humans can. And I just liked that quote a lot because they're all
Okay.
sinners there, but
Hmm.
they can evoke that magic. They can create that divine music, that connection between the past and the present and the future. I was like, go off, sis.
Like the name
Oh my
of the
goodness. You
movie.
literally could not have put it better.
Hmm.
Annie meets
Yeah.
the community where they're at. She doesn't make like expectations or bargains with them. She knows
Hmm.
where they're at. And she gives her last appearance is her breastfeeding her baby.
Yeah.
Vampires just take. They take and they take and they take. They consume. And he gives freely. Like she used her magic to protect Smoke and Stack while they were gone. Keep them safe. She
Hmm.
did everything she could for her community always. On that note too, she is always respected and always listened to.
Hmm.
Everybody
Except
immediately like
except
she
when
knows
Cornbread is
what's
turned
going
into a
on.
vampire and insults her cooking. And then they're like, well, now I know something's wrong because not the Annie I know would never use
Yeah.
stale oil. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I liked that she's
This
never
whole movie to me is a
less than the
really
other
good.
characters.
Yeah. Yeah, she is the leader in this group. It's not Smoke, who's the soldier and the former employee of Al Capone. Like they don't look to him for granted. They look to Annie. She knows what's going on. And I thought this movie was a really, really good example of a horror movie where the characters do everything right and it's still not enough.
Hmm.
They know immediately that something's wrong. It's not a quiet infiltration. It's instant. They find Mary as soon as she's killed Stack, you know? And
Hmm.
they lock Stack up. They know something's wrong. It's still not enough. They still all die, you know?
Yeah.
But like I just thought it was really, really well done that they do everything the right way. They make their weapons, they collect the garlic, they do all these things. Um, it's just sometimes knowing what to do isn't enough. Oh, Ryan Coogler has said that he has never thought about doing a sequel or a prequel for this movie. He just kind of considered it a full meal that anyone can enjoy, just complete on its own. And I would just like to
Hmm.
take a moment to say thank you,
Good for
Mr. Ryan
him.
Coogler,
Yeah. Yeah.
for, yep, correct and good. I keep seeing people that are like, hey, we need backstory. I want to see the Smokestack twins in Chicago. No, we don't need
And
that.
it's like, because I thought that you had too much exposition, so now you want backstory?
Hmm.
Make up your mind.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
listen, I'll say the same thing about Megamind. I wish all the time that I had more of that story. That does not mean that I want a sequel or a prequel,
Mm-mm.
anything. I just wish,
Mm-mm.
like, I don't want more story at the expense of the story that we have. You
Yeah.
know, if
Yeah.
all we have are these 2 hours of this movie, then I will take those 2 hours. Of course, I want to see
Buddy guy.
more of the Smokestack twins. Of course, I want to see Buddy Guy. I'm a human being with two eyes and ears connected to a heart. But what we have, it's enough and it's perfect, and that's
Hmm.
all.
I agree. It's like we were talking about
Hmm.
the lunchbox having a kind of ambiguous ending, but specifically not in a way that opens itself up
Hmm.
to a sequel. It's just like, I don't know,
Yes.
man. Use your imagination. You don't
Play
have to
pretend.
have the whole
Use your
story
noggin.
spelled
This is why
out for
God gave
you
it to you.
with every possible like sequel and prequel and spin-off and whatever. Like the story can just be what it is right now.
Hmm. It's literally why we have fan fiction. You
True.
want to explore the stuff, make it yourself then.
Hmm.
Do it like you need
Like
somebody to like spoon
imagine
feed
it
you
in your
food
mind.
too. Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm. Um, yeah. So, okay, the last thing that I wanted to talk about, and this is crazy to me that I haven't seen anyone else even mention the gold coins, but like I'm
Hmm.
obsessed with them. I have been turning them over in my head over and over again. And this is just another thing, like why I think the vampires and Remick in particular are such a compelling villain. They're really well done because he seems to give away so freely. The way he gets his
Hmm.
foot in the door always is through these gold coins. Like I have gold. I The Indians meant to steal it from me, but they didn't get all of it. You can just have it. No strings attached. Here, you can have my gold coins. I don't even want to drink for it. They're a token of my friendship. Just,
Hmm.
here, go crazy. But he never really gives them away because he's given them to somebody that he knows he's going to turn in the next second.
Yeah.
He's always like, they're always just going to land right back in it. And he always ends up with them in the next moment to give them to the next person. He's never given anything away, not really. It's the
Yeah.
appearance of it. And they make me go insane. I want to chew on them. Like that's really, really, really good way to show, again, very succinctly, what this guy is all about.
Yeah.
He's
Because
giving,
they're a token
but
of
not.
his friendship. And his friendship is the kind of friendship that always demands more of you.
Yeah. So I just want to make sure we mentioned that because I really liked those, the gold
Yeah,
coins. Um,
it was good. And it contrasts, like you were saying with Annie, how she'll accept anything that people can give and then give freely back, right? When they
mhm,
have like the plantation money, which is fake and can only be used among like this particular community, she'll still accept it and then give them something real in return. And then his thing is the
mhm,
opposite, where he has like real gold coins that could be worth something, but
mhm.
they always have that condition of like
Yes,
the
yes, yes,
token
yes,
of
yes,
his
yes,
friendship,
yes.
meaning that
Yes.
it all belongs to him.
Correct and good and true. Yep. Very exactly. Exactly.
Mhm. So basically, it's a pretty good movie.
It's a pretty good movie. And actually, that reminds me, you know what else is a pretty good movie?
Tell me more.
It's a little movie from 1999 called Ravenous. I made it the whole time. I made it this whole time without bringing it up. I just would
Mhm.
like it noted. Um, Good job, me. I did make a Venn diagram for that movie and this movie because they're the same to me. They're the same.
Mhm.
No one else sees it, but I see it. I can see it. I've got the vision. Um, I I know I can feel it in my heart that Ryan Coogler has never seen Ravenous. I know that he hadn't, but I know that if he
Mhm.
did see it, he'd be like, "This one's just like me for real." I think he would
Mhm.
understand.
Okay.
Um,
Let's
because
petition it.
they
Ryan, if you're watching, you gotta you
watch
gotta check out this
Ravenous.
1999 um
Yeah. It's also a horror
critically
movie.
slandered movie. Right?
Yeah. And there's some very key differences. I'll go through the similarities first.
Okay.
Um, there's an obscenely sexual villain.
Yeah. Hmm.
That's all.
That's what
They
the S
he
stands for, remember.
Yeah, keep in mind. We remember. They use the wolf in sheep's clothing where they sneak in and
Hmm.
the both villains are like, I'm a coward, aren't I? I should have been more brave. They know what they're doing. It's on purpose.
Hmm.
Um, they both have unconventional soundtracks and like they make unusual choices in their music, which is good. It's such a good thing, but it's both like a little bit, it's not the mainstream what you would expect of a movie soundtrack. You see what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, Everybody dies except for the one person, and there's a slightly ambiguous ending, meaning it's open to interpretation. There's more vampires out there, there's more cannibals out there, perhaps even
Hmm.
who founded Los Angeles. Hmm, maybe. Um, the differences now. Um, is there a weird gay thing? In Ravenous, it's the whole thing. That's all
Hmm.
there is. Sinners, absolutely not.
Sinners
People
is
who are
like
like, why do they keep
it's like
talking about that?
notably straight.
It really very significantly so.
Like
Yeah, people
shockingly
keep
so,
like
yeah.
I I will admit I've many a time seen a movie where just, two guys are just standing there. I'm like, there's there's kind of a lot of tension here right now. Whoa. But like this one, come on, guys. Like we
No.
we have that media literacy. This don't be doing that. Stop. So there's that. Um, and the Ravenous like really sexualizes the gore, which they don't do in Sinners. It's
Right.
that was a distinct difference. And the brave
Yeah.
thing in both movies is different. The brave thing in Ravenous is to sacrifice yourself in order to stop the evil. You need to give up your life and your future. The brave thing in Sinners is the opposite of that. The brave thing in Sinners is to live on purpose and to go and embrace the thing that makes you different. So I thought that
Hmm.
was really, really neat. I liked how they both did the monster reveal kind of different too. Um, Ravenous, the monster reveal happens like fairly early on in the movie, and then you have to do so. It's interesting, like we were talking about earlier with the exposition happens, and then the climax, and then it happens all at once. But with Ravenous, it
Hmm.
kind of happens the opposite of that, where exposition all at once, and then we kind of have multiple events happen after that,
Yeah.
which is really well done. I'm not saying you can't do it that way, but I just liked that they're just kind of inverse of each other. Do you see it? Do you
Yeah.
understand? They're not related to me, but it's like convergent evolution.
Yeah.
They both end up in the same places with different influences. And that's my essay about that. Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
Um, do you think that you
No.
could like swap one song from Ravenous and one song from Sinners? Which song would you replace?
Oh, that's really, really good. I would put I think pick Poor Robin Clean in Ravenous because I think it has the
Hmm.
exact same amount of like you know.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Colonel Ives would sing that one at the fire and everyone else would be like, okay, man, kind of a weird choice, but then Boyd would be sitting there like foaming at the mouth, snarling. And I think Boyd's journey would be good in Sinners at the end when everything's wrapping up very nicely. It's that very kind of like it's kind of a trudging song,
Hmm.
but at the same time kind of hopeful, you know? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my answer.
Good
Do
answer.
you do you have any different opinions about that or
No.
yeah, do you
And I
happen to
don't
know
think
the
anyone
songs of
else
the
does either. I think
I was gonna say,
we're the
do you know
only
all the
people in
songs
the
in the
world.
Rapids?
We're the only people in the world who could have this conversation.
Oh, and we're better than everybody else for it.
Mhm.
Hmm. Yeah.
That's what I always say.
Anyway, Sinners is a really
Pretty good
good
movie.
movie. Go
Hmm.
watch it. I liked it a whole lot. I've seen it many times in the last week, probably more in the future if I had to bet.
Yeah. Probably safe to say. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. I am kind of
Um,
insufferable to be around right now because on the one hand I'm sick. So there's not really much in me for conversation, but the what is in me is only vampires. That's it. I'm like, y'all seen Sinners? And they're like, no. I was like, okay. How about do you ever see The Vampire Diaries? And they're like, no. I was like, okay. We don't have to talk then. That's all I've got, man.
well, probably we should do this again sometime.
Probably we should. We should
We
even come up
will,
maybe with a movie.
yeah, we will have to pick a movie to talk about.
Yeah. We can do that later if we wanted.
Yeah. In editing, I'll make sure to make that silence like super long.
Really long. Yay.
Ugh. Yeah.
I probably should go. My mom says hi.
Hi.
They say hi again. Yeah.
We could do an infinite loop. Say hi, I say hi,
Let's
you say hi,
let's
I say
not.
hi.
I know I've got stuff to
I always
do.
think of it's there, I don't know what episode this is from, but there's a moment in Psych when Sean says, I take a lick, you take a lick, I take a lick, you take a lick,
Tickle it,
I
you
take a
tickle
lick.
it.
You take a lick,
It's
I take a lick,
yours.
you take a lick. It's like that. I say hi, you say hi.
Yeah, good talk. I'm gonna
Thank
go.
you.
Maybe shower.
Okay. That's probably a good idea.
Why do you say that?
Well, see you another time. And probably we'll talk about another movie or something too.
Maybe. Guess we'll just have to
Oh,
wait and see. Okay, I cannot believe that I forgot to mention this while we were recording earlier because I was most excited to talk about this. But I kept thinking about like if Remick had taken the time and the opportunity to actually like observe and listen and wait for an invitation. Like he could have in another life had an appreciation for the music and learned to contribute something of his own without taking everything from the community it came from. And I got thinking, if only we had an incredible Irish musical artist who had such a deep appreciation for soul and blues music. If only, right? What I'm saying is Remick could have been Hosier. He could have been. He screwed up that badly.